Welcome. Yes, we have made it. We have made it, ladies and gentlemen, to High Off the Glass. We have made it to the first inaugural episode of High Off the Glass. Yeah, where's my laugh track and my my audience when I need it, brother? Dang, he's supposed to be the producer. But yeah, man, we have made it. Welcome everyone to High Off the Glass. My name is O the Great. Welcome. I am here with my, you know who he is. You know him. You love him. Big Marshall. How are you, Big Marshall? How are you, Marshall, today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing so great right now. Thank you so much for having me on the first episode of your podcast.
Oh, thank you for being available and doing it, brother. You know what I'm saying? This is almost like a dream come true, isn't it?
Dude, it's great, man.
I
It's
think
an
it
awesome
is.
studio.
I
I
know.
love this flag right next to us.
Supplied by the Soulardians. Want to give a shout out to my Soulardian friends, Mr. Marcus and Mr. Cecil. They have been generous enough to lend their space to the inaugural first ever episode of High Off the Glass. Woo! So welcome. We're excited. This is going to be not your typical podcast, and it's definitely not going to be a topic that you've heard before. It's going to be half one you have and not both you have. This is going to be about basketball, which, okay, yeah, you've heard of a basketball podcast, and this is what it's going to be. It's going to have a lot of basketball in it: NBA, college, pro, amateur, YMCA. The anywhere is going to have all types of basketball in it, but it's also going to have my favorite thing, other than basketball, marijuana. That's our other topic. It's going to be just a dual show. That's our main two topics. That's the thing we focus on here: marijuana, the nutrients that we get from marijuana, the all the great aspects of it, how everything has changed on it in the last 10, 20 years on it. A lot of rules and a lot of stereotypes have fallen away, thank goodness. And we're going to focus on that, and we're going to bring those two worlds together, and we're going to present it to you all, the people that listen. And
I've been a basketball fan since I was 12 years old. I've been
yes,
a
sir.
weed fan since I was 19 years old.
I hear you.
And I think combined in this room, we have almost 100 years of experience in basketball and marijuana combined.
19, more than
Let's
19.
go ahead and put 100 years of experience on the board.
There it is. There it is.
That's right. That's right. Viewers on the internet might see a poll pop up and flash.
Right.
How much experience do you have in the marijuana and basketball industry? I hope if you have over 100, you might be invited to a future episode of the show.
Maybe I like that. I like the way that sounds. I don't know about industry, but maybe just hush, producer. I think maybe any how much knowledge do you have in those two aspects of life, basketball and marijuana? Where are your
I'll tell you an
where
insight
where do you all fall in that? If you all know a lot about it, contact the show. We'll give out everything.
As I was enjoying some marijuana last night, thinking about Duke, watching a huge end game situation, I realized the Blue Devils have been going through a tournament this season that features a lot of end game, buzzer beater, almost scenarios. Almost scenarios. What was it? UCF had two chances to beat Duke in the final seconds.
They both were right there. How do you miss those?
And just a few days later.
How do you miss those?
I've been in that kind of situation before.
Producer. How? Oh yeah. Didn't all the way shout him out. Like to give a shout out to Mr. Boston. He's in the house. This man's name is Boston, but he's a Yankee fan. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
I'm walking contradiction. What can I say, guys?
That's crazy.
As
that was disgusting.
Say,
disgusting.
What's disgusting?
My last name is Boston, but I like the Yankees. It's almost like,
right, it is. It's almost like it's the opposite.
It makes no damn sense.
But is it weirder for me because I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, and I want to call them what I usually call them, but I'm not going to call them that right now. But I hate the Red Sox, and I'm a Yankee fan. Ain't that a blimp? I'm a Yankee and Cardinal fan. Shout out to St. Louis. That's where we're at, St. Louis, Missouri. That's where we do this fine show. And Yankee fan, but his name is Boston.
I really, Omar,
Yes,
I
sir.
really wanted to win the Powerball the other day. $850 million. You know what I would have done with that payout?
What would you have done with it?
I would have bought the Washington Wizards, John Wall's mega deal, and I would have brought that to St.
She
Louis.
tried to unload that Wall deal. That deal is horrible. Oh my
Don't
goodness.
you want to see the Washington Wizards logo draped underneath the
I
arch?
think like in the last year of that deal, he'll be 35, 36 or something, and they'll be paying him, dude, like I think north of $40 million.
I believe it's
One
north of
season.
45 million, and trust me, John Wall will be worth every penny.
What type
Ernie Grunfeld is a
Who-
genius.
What general manager, president, owner of any type of franchise signs off on a deal where you pay the player more the older he gets, but then not only that, you have no out. There's no out clause. There's no out clause. He may have a player option. He may have a player option, but I don't think the team does. It's like
You're missing the connection between Mike Krzyzewski and Ernie Grunfeld. They have both signed a deal to remain employed and semi-successful for the rest of their lives. I can never explain how people have missed such easy, open baskets. In the game against UCF, Duke left one of those players undefended on one of those baskets.
right,
He missed it.
right,
Against Virginia Tech last night,
right,
there was no hand in his face.
right.
It's a play that I've made over bigger men as
Right,
well. And he
right.
was there. He was up. He was over Zion.
It's great.
He was over the number 1 pick in the NBA draft.
Oh,
A clear look.
floated. I didn't know why he didn't. To me, it looked like, I don't know about you, but didn't it look like he was trying to draw the foul? It's like the way he drifted, because he was in the air and he was like, oh, and he had made that face like he was getting like play fouled. He was trying to draw a call, so he throws it up, but he doesn't even try to shoot it properly for real. Maybe he rushed it. Didn't do glass in that position. How do you not go for the box?
I'll give
The
you
box
one
is
word
right there.
why he
How
doesn't
do you
dunk
not-
it. Why doesn't he put it
He
down?
can't dunk. He was too far away to dunk it. So I understand the way he shot it. He was too far away to dunk. If it was Zion, Zion could have done that because Zion's a freak and he has that reach. This dude was little. He couldn't do the dunk. So boom, bang, right off the glass. Why not that? That's perfect.
That's exactly what we're saying. R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson, smashing the boards, collapsing on him. It forces him into a strange shot. He misses it by an inch.
Yeah, I feel sorry for that brother. I think he's gonna. I pray he comes back, and I pray Virginia Tech is as good next year as they are this year. But I don't. He's gonna, if he doesn't get back to that same level, to an Elite Eight game and plays his butt off, he's gonna think about that play for the rest of his life. It's gonna drive him crazy.
See, when we roll up a blunt, we always hope that it's going to be perfect. Every time you throw up a shot, you think it's going to go in.
That's true.
You know, he probably missed that shot.
That's not true. That's
And
not
you know
true.
what? You know what his biggest regret was
you've
is
thrown
that
up-
he didn't get another second to take another shot. I bet if he had
Yeah.
been able to get the rebound and throw it up, I bet he makes that one.
Yeah.
No matter what.
His momentum took him way out the way. He wasn't even in position to even gather himself to get a board. His momentum just took him. He fell out of bounds with it, and then he was trying to draw the call, which you got to do. Got to do whatever you can do in that position. Please, somebody give me a lifeline. I don't want to go out like that. But,
Well, that's what's so beautiful about basketball.
That's how sports work.
You never know when your final shot's really going to go
Tell
up.
it. Tell it. You never know.
He could have gotten fouled.
You never know.
You said he looked like he thought he was drawing the foul. I kind of agree.
Right.
He could have. It would have been justified to get a foul, but then the refs would have influenced the end of the game. Oh, I don't want to see the refs influence the end of the game at all.
You could tell that's mindset.
That player misses unless it's just terrible.
You can tell
If you bull a player over, all right, that's a technical foul.
Mm.
I want a technical foul to happen at the end of the game.
You can tell that's the mindset of the NCAA this tournament. Like we do not want to be the NFL. We do not want to be called out by our refs. But if a call is there, I don't care what. If it's at the end, almost at the end of regulation, overtime, double, triple overtime, make that freaking call. I don't give fuck it. Make it. You got to make that call. Make it. If it's a blatant foul that's right there, don't just not make it. I mean.
Oh, these questionable calls are all over the place. You sound like a Villanova fan right now.
I didn't even see that game. They kind of got that. They got handed to them. Who beat them? Wasn't it? Who was it?
Stat boy, let's find out.
We-
favorite
we
my
know he
favorite
don't know.
thing when you brought this up, who beat them? My favorite
You
thing
know.
is all I could remember is some of the highlights. Every time they'd cut to a commercial, the NCAA will show you a highlight of
Yeah.
a player's reaction or something.
Yeah.
And over through the Villanova games, I remember a player being like, but he fouled me.
Right.
My hand.
Right.
What?
Right.
Hands up.
Yeah.
Go, maybe he's going over to the ref. But what about me? I
Yeah.
mean, look, I went to all these classes. I studied really hard. I know a lot about biology and anatomy. That man touched my arm. I'm not the best lip reader in the world. Maybe the
Stupid,
conversation didn't go down just like
It's
that.
Stupid. I tell you one thing. I'm gonna go back to something you said earlier. You said that every time we put a shot up, we know it's going in. That's not true. That's not true at all. There's been countless times I've been in games, pickup games, important games, and I throw up a shot. And I pray to God it's going in. I'm not knowing. You know what I'm saying? I just think, I hope my form is right. Or, somebody knock it in or something. And when it goes in, that's the best. Now, I tell you one thing. One thing I like to talk about, here's a segment right here. NBA players that knew the shot they put up was not going to drop, but it did. You know what I'm saying? I would love professional athletes rarely talk about that. When they didn't think it was going to happen, and then they ended up doing it, or like they made a mistake or something, and then it always seems like we kind of planned for that, or we coached for it, or da 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 da. There's been so much stuff. Like, okay, look, my prime example, 1987, Eastern Conference Finals, Celtics versus Pistons. Pistons are up by 2. They game's like 2 seconds away. It's almost over. Isaiah goes to inbound the ball. The greatest Celtic to me ever comes out of nowhere. Larry Legend just comes, steals the ball. DJ cuts to the basket. Dennis Johnson, if y'all don't know.
And there's a steal by Bird.
Underneath the DJ, he lays at it, and he just go. It's so pretty. And then boom, it's out of nowhere. And then they go up, and then they defend, and then boom, that's the game. I mean, it's just when stuff like something, when something you don't think is going to happen and it happens and you win. Like, I just want to ask NBA players specifically, because this is NBA, college. I'll ask anybody who comes in the studio, when's the time that you put up a shot, you knew it wasn't going to go in, but it dropped and you ended up winning? Has to be a game winner.
I have a great story from university.
Is it true or is it made up?
It is indeed true. My intramural team, this is some glory day story here.
Okay.
In the championship, we were facing a team of medical school kids who had not lost a basketball game in 5 years.
Was this at Simon Rec?
This was at St. Louis University.
I know it's not. Did y'all play at Simon Rec?
Yes.
Damn right.
So, with the score tied 28-28, we were a grit and grind it out kind of team. This was a ref game.
Right.
With a scorekeeper.
Dang, for real?
There are records of it. I called a timeout, and I told my team, get me the ball, and I'm going to make that shot. The other team, this was a small gym. They could hear me say it. I had most of the points for our team. They knew I was going to take it.
Right.
I come off a screen. I throw up the ball. It hits the glass. Goes right in. Now I go screaming and running through the gym, because you have to remember, this team that we just beat had not lost in over 5 years, and they were in their 4th year of medical school.
What?
They had been playing basketball together since their freshman year at St. Louis University, and they were in their 5th year of med school.
They never lost.
This is 9 years. No, they had not lost a game for 5 years.
Wow.
But they had been together playing intramurals in the same intramural league for 9 years. And we were the first loss for 5 years to them.
Wow.
One of the greatest individual shots that I ever made.
Huh.
In a ref game.
Look at you. But my question is, when you put the shot up, did you think you were going to make it? How were you defending? Was it heavily contested?
Oh yes. I would put my odds at 50-50 of it going in. Like, it was one of those shots that
50-50?
it feels good, but then when it hits the glass, you're surprised that it hit the glass. You're like, I didn't see that coming, but it looked right. It felt
Right.
like if we were at a beach, I would tell you that the wind took it into the glass.
Right.
But we were in a closed gymnasium,
I feel you.
so I was just
I feel you.
Maybe-
I've hooped in Simon Rec many times. I love playing ball. That's a shout out to SLU and shout out to Simon Rec. That's a beautiful facility they have there. I love it. A lot to do.
when I was playing big time high school basketball for
the weights.
for the #1 team in Texas. I hit 3 shots one day when our best player was in foul trouble.
Okay, are you trying to go all the way down memory lane?
Several of my players. Oh, here it goes.
We have
Play,
plenty of
ring the
episodes.
bell, boys.
Right. Ding, 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 ding. That's the rant bell. When somebody starts to, dude, that's dope. That's genius, Marshall. When somebody starts to go on a rant, yo, I'm gonna bring in a freaking bell. B.
Point at me. Point
Yo,
at Marshall.
I'm
I'm on the show.
Yo, you there though?
Keep
For real.
looking at you, man.
For real.
I'm
For
playing
real.
Angry Birds,
You,
okay?
dude. Like, damn, Angry Birds. I'm pointing at you too.
Hey, he is trying to look at Twitter right now. Don't you
Look
understand?
at his knuckles, dude. He look like he fucking
I failed.
bar knuckle boxing and shit on the weekend.
I failed, man. Last time we had an ice storm.
Bare
I
knuckle, my
failed.
bad.
Damn it.
You say what?
We had an ice storm. I failed my drop.
Sure.
So, what do you think of Carson Edwards?
Who's that? What?
Carson Edwards? Who's that? What?
No.
He's a player for Purdue that beat Villanova, that almost single-handedly beat. Who was it last night?
Purdue knocked out
Who
Villanova?
was it that Purdue got
Purdue's
beat by
been-
last night?
They got
Purdue
beat by
smashed
Virginia.
in like the last
Virginia.
second by
Virginia,
Virginia.
yeah.
Carson Edwards had a chance to win that game.
Virginia
he-
played. Virginia.
He dribbled down, and I was so surprised that he passed the ball. Okay, now he passes the ball to one of his forwards who fumbles it out of bounds, giving Virginia the possession for end of game.
Mhm.
And Carson Edwards had, I believe, 47 or 48 in that game.
Mhm.
Let's see. My question, though, is if you were an NBA team, where do you rank Carson Edwards with Zion and RJ Barrett?
What?
And it sounds like you're going to struggle with his answer because you're like, who's Carson Edwards?
Pretty much, but I'll just ask you basic questions to give me some type of feeling on him. What year is he?
Carson Edwards, last night, scored 42
I said,
points.
what year is he? What year is he in school?
Is he a junior or a senior? He is a junior guard out of Purdue. Let's see.
Oh,
And
is
last night, he had half of his team's points on
Dude!
14 of 25 shooting.
I know exactly who you're talking about because I watched
Carson
the game.
Edwards is a god.
Hold on. Oh, slow down. Okay. Yes, his name Carson Edwards. I thought it was C.J. Edwards. All right. He's a little light-skinned dude, right?
Sure.
Yeah. He is quick. He looks like a wrestler. Like I know exactly who you're talking about. He's short and he's thick. And what is it? He's got a hell of a shot. Like he was putting up shots that I just knew weren't going to drop, but they were consistently. So I give it up to him. But I tell you one thing, I don't see him getting out of the G League. And if he gets out of the G League, he'll probably be a backup just because of his size.
Gets out of the G League?
Yeah,
You don't like him as an undersized point guard?
dude.
You don't think he would help Orlando immediately?
Orlando's doing all right. Shoot, they're almost about to get the A spot. Oh no, I think Miami's gonna. I hope Miami gets it. I want D Wade the final. Shout out to D Wade, man, one of the dopest dudes ever.
Well, there are
Dopest two guards.
There are
This is
some
his last
terrible
season, so-
NBA teams out there, and they need Carson Edwards desperately to score 40 points for them.
You act like if you do it on a college level, you can do it in a damn league. Are you crazy? That don't work in college, in football or NFL. With football, college football players, it's not gonna work with
The
college
last time I
basketball
saw a college player thoroughly dominate another team like this was a man named Steph Curry. And a lot of people
Ugh.
said this was like some small, skinny guy. Could barely even shoot.
Dude,
In fact, I'm reading here on these stats that Carson Edwards was 14 of 25 last night. Let's see what
Wait.
old Steph Curry's shooting was like in his last college game.
okay, so that's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna like constantly just look stuff up.
Well, I do want to know. I'm kind of curious. Are you curious? Do you want to know?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
You hate Carson
yeah.
Edwards that much?
Huh?
You don't like Carson
I
Edwards?
told you. I told you I'm feeling dude. I just don't see him long term being being a starter in the NBA. No, I don't see that. But I tell you one thing, he's strong as shit. He's quick. I mean, maybe he could. I mean, look, but look at the league right now, Marshall. How many undersized guards are in the NBA? Maybe Drew Holiday. But
Kemba Walker.
I don't think he's undersized. Kemba maybe. Kemba's 6. He's 6'1", I think. You know what I'm saying?
Steph Curry is a
He's
undersized
6'3". He's 6'3", 6'4". Steph is.
I really like
Give me
this.
an undersized guard.
I really like this one guy. His name's Dennis Smith Jr. He plays for the New York Knicks now.
He's not undersized either, bruh.
He's like 6'1", 6'2".
That's not undersized.
That's a little guy.
That's not undersized.
What about my hero of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks championship over the Miami Heat? JJ Barea.
That's undersized, and he's still in the league. Shout out to JJ. He dope.
Okay, so undersized
LeBron
people.
was too scared.
Let me drop some knowledge on you, right? Omar,
LeBron
you ready for
was
this?
too scared to post them up, man.
Of men who are 5'7" to 5'10", okay, there are about 60 to 80 million of us in the United States. Do you know how many of us play in the NBA?
What's the height from what the
5'7" to 5'10".
Okay, what about it?
There are about 60 to 80 million of us. Now,
Yeah.
these numbers are from 2015, a Time magazine story.
What the fuck?
Get this.
So?
There was one
What?
NBA player
What the shit?
that height. One
Height?
man. Yep.
What the hell is height?
5'7" to 5'10".
What does height mean?
I'm saying, when you talk about an undersized point guard, JJ Barea is 5'9".
Yeah.
And he shut down and scored on LeBron James over and over again in the 2011 finals. I'm saying an undersized point guard like Carson Edwards has a valuable place in the NBA.
I know. But all I'm saying is there's not a lot of them. There's only one. You've only named one, JJ.
Kemba Walker is definitely an undersized guard.
And maybe, I don't know. What's Kemba? Look him up. Isn't he like 6'1", 6'2"?
And I mean, I would argue that Chris Paul is also 6'1" or less.
No, Chris Paul's like 6'2", 6'3", isn't he?
Let's see.
I'm just look to me.
Chris Paul is 6 feet on the nose listed, which means he's probably more like 5'11".
He's 6'1", yeah.
Yeah, so Kemba Walker's taller than Chris Paul, who's
what's-
also considered a short point guard.
Your boy from Purdue, you're just on his nuts. What's his name? I mean, how?
Carson Edwards. Yeah, let's look up Carson Edwards. I think he's 6'4".
6'4". Man, you love him so much.
No, he's 6'5".
He's 6'5"?
Wait, no, I'm wrong.
Right, because you would. That would
6'5".
make you sound really stupid. You would just hold little man argument. And if
Yeah,
that
he's
dude
6'1".
is,
Yeah, he's
oh, okay,
6'1",
about this
yeah.
for your sake. What in the world? Okay, he's
So here's the other side of that stat. There are 660 people in the United States who are over 6'11" and between the height of 7 feet 2 inches. Of those 600 people, 20 of them play in the NBA.
Were you gonna name them? I mean, what?
No, it's that rare if you're between the height of 5'7" to 5'10" to make it to the NBA.
I'm not gonna front. You lost me in the middle of that. I got something else I want to discuss right now. I got something I want to discuss. Favorites, as in any level. Like I want to touch on. Let's go over the marijuana side. What do you have? Particular strands? Is it cannabis? I mean, is it sativa? Is it indica? Do you prefer? Is there any type of favorites you have, marijuana wise?
Oh, between Northern Lights, AK-47, and all the other classics like White Widow, it's too hard to choose.
I know.
You know,
This is what I think.
it depends on what kind of mood I am, where I'm at. Am I watching a movie? I really want Northern Lights for that.
Okay.
Low lights. If I'm at a club or at a party, I need something more upbeat. I need something to take me to another level.
Right.
I need something that's going to take that anxiety away.
Right.
I'm going to focus on a strong hybrid if I do something like that.
I hear you. I mean, all that makes sense. To me, I just love it. I just love it either way. Indica, sativa, I like both strands. I'm not picky. I'll take either one.
I'm not picky.
I'm really not. And especially now when you can get what you want. Like, hey, I want this particular kind with this much THC. I want this kind that'll do this for me. I want that kind. Shout out to Leaf. What is it? Leafly? Leafly.com. I mean, you put in what? OG Kush in there. Boom. It'll tell you exactly this, that, and the third. Put in any name of whatever, and it'll break it down for you. I just love how now you can be so specific. It's not just okay. This is Dank and this is Reggie. Which one? You know what I'm saying? Now you can find out exactly what kind of Reggie that is, and you can find out exactly what kind of Dank that is, and see how dank it really
Hold on.
is.
Reggie. This is 2019. Does Reggie still get sold?
Yes, it does.
Reggie just gets.
It does.
Are we sure about that, Omar?
No, real talk.
Not in this room.
Listen, check it.
Not in this room.
No, not in this room. Not at all. What is it? Friend of mine who sells. He tells me, what is it? That's all he sells to his people are Reggie. Why? Because they're like 50 and up. They don't want the shit that we smoke. It's too much for them. So they prefer that Reggie, that nasty ass, brownie ass, dry it. Oh,
this is actually.
I just
I've heard
think
this
about Reggie
before.
make me mad, bro. Like I used to smoke that shit.
I've heard this before as well. There's a certain type of smoker.
Hate that shit, bro. I used to smoke shit. Real talk. We're gonna slow down for this. Hold on. Let me vent right fast. Bruh, I used to smoke some shit, some Reggie shit, and I would catch it here randomly. And y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Especially mid-2000s and shit. Any part of not any part of the country. If you didn't have a strong hookup, you was smoking shit that had a pneumonia smell to it. Remember that shit? Remember the Reggie that would come with pneumonia smell?
It might smell like soap.
You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It might actually taste like shampoo.
Dude, now I don't know about all that. But it had a pneumonia undertone to it. Like, that's how they had to douse it with that shit to get across the border or whatever the fuck. Oh, I hate it. Made my head hurt. Ugh.
It's strange that you bring this up because in the year 2003, St. Louis went through an unprecedented drought.
Remember that
there
shit?
were actually billboards on the highway that said,
speak on it, Marshall. Speak on it.
This is July 2003.
Sir. Think it's dry now.
The billboard says, if you think it's dry now, wait until October. And let me tell you, I did wait until October. Yeah. It was not dry anymore. And with Missouri being one of the most recent states to legalize marijuana, we are at a neat precipice in history.
What do you mean, neat? Huh?
Well, we find ourselves here in St. Louis doing a podcast about marijuana.
True.
And quite honestly, I've been following these laws, these updates.
You have. I appreciate you.
I just find it really concerning that our state lawmakers are making it more difficult for people to grow a plant in their own house.
Oh wow, that's a problem now.
It's not a problem now, but it could be in the future.
Is that because recreational hasn't been passed yet? Because if recreational's passed, well, that they can't say shit about you growing a plant in your.
They're largely concerned about crime. All these regulations are aimed at preventing any child from gaining access to the product and preventing anyone from breaking into your house to gain access to it in an illegal way. It's actually ironic that we are treating this plant more seriously than we treat guns in this country.
Right! Speak on it, Marshall. Speak.
Well, if I have... I mean, it's just the way it is.
Why, man? I mean,
I don't know why.
I can get something right now. From Walmart that will.
Well, you'll have to wait a few days to get it.
I feel like if I get the shotgun or the rifle, I can just walk out of there, right?
You could probably walk out with the shotgun.
I could, like I said, like I was starting to say, I can go get something right now that with enough ammo can literally kill 100, well, maybe 20, 30 people, however fast I can reload without being taken the fuck out. I can kill all people, but I can go to jail for having a certain amount of a plant. a plant,
Yeah.
bro. And that's the focus. That's the thing that I think we need to get away from as a society. Um, calling this shit, calling this shit, calling this flower weed. It's not a weed. When you say weed, you don't want weeds in your garden. I don't want weeds in my lawn. You try your best to get rid of weeds. So we should just really get away from calling this beautiful flower marijuana, calling it
Omar,
weed. It's not
you've brought
weed.
me to one of my all-time favorite subjects,
Mm,
marijuana history.
mhm,
The reason it's actually called weed is because there's a guy who used to make a lot of newspaper in this country. And
mm,
newspapers are made from paper, obviously. Paper is made from trees. But if you have hemp and you grow hemp, you can create paper,
uh-huh.
which is actually more durable than the paper that's created from trees. But here's the thing, if you own newspapers and you own forests and you own paper mills, you want more of the same to be made. You don't want any sort of innovation to exist in this.
Mm,
So if you're a man like Garrison Hearst, who owns a lot of newspapers back in about 100, 120 years ago, you're going to demonize this thing called hemp.
right,
You
right,
see, people back then didn't care about regulations or the environment. They
mhm,
just wanted something. They
right,
didn't know where, they didn't care where it came from.
right.
So even though we could make every one of our newspapers on hemp paper right now,
Mm,
we don't. We're
mm,
still cutting down trees and recycling old paper to make our newspapers.
mm,
And there's a better way to do it. Um,
right.
regulations like that are being cleared now, but like all things, people demonize things with race. Okay, initially, the idea was that Mexicans were selling little boys and girls joints 3 for $1.
Right,
Oh no.
right,
And you don't want your little boy to have a joint from these
right,
scary brown people.
right,
And so
right.
a whole bunch of white people got scared,
Mhm,
and eventually that led to something called the Stamp Act.
mhm,
And the Stamp Act basically said that you had to have a stamp to purchase marijuana from the federal government, thereby effectively making it illegal. And eventually it led to the creation, all these
mhm.
schedule things and stuff didn't quite exist then.
Yeah.
And then it became Schedule 1, which means that it's illegal to use and test for medical purposes. So you basically set marijuana research back 30 or 40 years at least.
I wonder where it's at right now. What,
It's still Schedule 1.
it is? Wait, with all the shit all the medicinal purposes that have been found from it, it's still at that?
Congress took up and heard arguments about this subject last year, and the DEA and the FBI urged Congress to to keep marijuana Schedule 1. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So it's important to understand that even the name marijuana is something that Garrison Hearst created. All right, marijuana itself
The
is
running back for the 49ers?
no. Garrison Hearst
What
is
the?
a newspaper baron.
What the dude ran?
Garrison
He was a running
Randolph
back. I mean,
Garrison
he
Randolph
was
Hearst.
faster than a motherfucker.
Garrison Randolph Hearst is a
Uh-huh.
newspaper baron from the late 1800s. Now get this, marijuana is actually a strain of weed that grows in Mexico. Looks nothing like what we think marijuana looks like today. It doesn't have 5 flowers. It
At
doesn't look
all.
like that at all.
Yeah, at
All
all.
right? But the thing is, it's something that you can blame on the other. It's something you can blame on these people.
Right.
Okay, and so
Right.
he latched on to that because cannabis doesn't have a negative connotation to it. People don't understand what cannabis is. But if you call it a weed, Garrison Hearst was a newspaper man. He wrote headlines, and you don't understand that newspapers would come out in the morning, noon, and at night. He wrote headlines for 3 editions of newspapers to catch people's eyes.
Right.
This man knew how to get attention and
Right.
knew how to sow the seeds of fear and doubt in people, and did it by changing the name of what something fundamentally is.
Hmm.
It's not marijuana,
Hmm.
it's cannabis.
Hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's
We need to take that name back.
like that knowledge. You're right. So you're saying that we shouldn't even call it marijuana. We should call it cannabis.
Right.
Huh.
I'm saying that in places that I've been to, dispensary states where it's completely legal, like Colorado,
Hmm.
Nevada,
Hmm.
California,
Hmm.
they don't like using the word marijuana in the store. They say, no, 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 no. We're not selling marijuana. We're selling you cannabis.
Right.
This is not marijuana.
Right.
And honestly, the story I just told you is something that you can research and look for in yourself. It's really easily available information that somebody in a cannabis shop told me. It was a
Right.
bud tender, is what they
Right.
call them.
A bud tender.
A bud tender. You have to take a class.
They're like a what's it called, a fashionista? What do people
It's like
call
a
it?
barista.
A barista
A
for
much,
barista for
much
marijuana.
more difficult position to be. By the
Right.
way, you have to take, I think, several hours. I think it's like 2 weeks. Let's see what it takes. Every state's a little different. In Colorado, I know they have to go through some weird bud tender college or something like
Nobody
that.
cares about that. But that was a good point you made. Thank you for that knowledge. Thank you for
Cheers.
that. I one one place I was thinking about was to bring it back to the to bring it back to the sports. Where where are you with where are you with, more importantly, athletes, people, that play professional sports and do drugs to recover or to play better? Where are you at with that?
Good question.
Mhm.
I think there's a certain amount of like, how harmful is this
Right,
that's not being taken into account sometimes.
right.
Like, one of the reasons basketball players don't traditionally use steroids is because what steroids do prohibits your ability to play basketball. You need flexibility, you need endurance, you need.
Steroids help with that?
No, steroids do not help with muscle flexibility.
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
Um,
If you're a professional athlete and your job is to spin top part of your body really fast to hit a ball, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be pretty flexible, bruh. What the fuck are you talking about?
yeah, but that's baseball. That's not basketball.
Yeah, but those are the people that take steroids. So,
Baseball takes
and
steroids.
there's different type of
Yeah.
steroids. So
Yeah,
why wouldn't?
baseball is the sport that has a steroid problem because when you take steroids, it saps your ability to run. Do you understand how this negatively affects your cardio? Do you understand that cardio is very important in basketball?
What are you talking about, Marshall? There's professional athletes in all sports that take steroids, and they need to be flexible and fast, and roids help with that. That's why they take them.
All right, let me ask you a
What are
question
you
here.
talking? What do you think?
Do you remember
You think? Wait,
LeBron
wait. No, but what
James
do you
on
think?
the cover of Sports
Do you
Illustrated?
think steroids just make you strong? Is that what you think? Like that's it? That's the only reason why they
All
take
right,
them?
well, let's go to the internet for
No,
this.
no, forget the internet. I'm asking Marshall. I'm not asking Google. I want to know what you think. Do you think steroids
I
just
think
make you strong?
steroids specifically help you build muscle strength.
Oh, that's it. Okay, you just think they're for strength. Dude, they can do other stuff. For
Well,
real.
it's a performance enhancing drug. Now that's different than a steroid.
They
A
do different
steroid is a very specific thing.
they do different stuff besides.
A performance enhancing drug is very different than a steroid. A performance enhancing drug can be steroids, but it can also be meth. It could also be weed. Okay,
When I
like
was
I'm not
asking.
kidding. Chess will not allow its players to smoke weed. You know why? Because it aids chess players in concentration. They
Wow.
label marijuana a performance enhancing drug, not a steroid.
I was asking you too when I made that question to you. It wasn't just about steroids or one particular drug. It was about everything. Like if somebody smokes marijuana after a game to help their body recover, if somebody takes cocaine to help them run faster, you know what I mean. I was asking you for everything. I wasn't just saying just steroids. What do you think about athletes taking steroids?
Hmm.
So what do you think
Well,
about that?
I think basketball player. Like I said,
First, you
we're
said,
not taking into account nearly enough how much harm these things do to the players.
well, who gives a fuck? If it's their body and they're willing to take the risk and they want to do that.
Mm. I think
That's like
when
telling a football player don't play football because
when you put somebody, these guys realistically have the ability to get $30 to $50 million a year when they're in their 20s. They will irrationally pursue that.
exactly.
So that needs to be regulated. Okay, if someone will do something irrationally to gain something, there needs to be limits on that
It
because
is.
you
It already
can't
is.
you cannot like there's plenty of evidence of like people who have done steroids, not performance enhancing drugs, specifically steroids with the intent of getting a major football or baseball contract, and
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
long-term damage to their life.
Yeah. No doubt.
So why do I care about why do I not want anyone to be able to do that? Because people will irrationally hurt themselves to gain money,
Yeah.
and no one should
It's true.
irrationally hurt themselves to gain money.
Yeah.
Marijuana, when you're sore, makes you feel better,
Yeah.
but it's not going to affect and alter your brain chemistry over a long period of time, like something specifically like steroids are known to do. Now, there are other performance enhancing drugs, like painkillers, that people get heavily addicted to,
Yeah.
like Brett Favre.
Yeah.
You know, other NBA players have definitely had trouble with painkillers before.
Right.
And
Right.
it's just, I mean, from what I understand, in the NFL, they put you on so much ibuprofen that they test your liver on a regular basis.
You know what? And where you said the NFL?
Yeah, this
I,
is the NFL.
I believe it. To me, I really think that they should be. You have to be an adult and know when to say when. You just do. You know, but people just don't, and so it's hard to take that. I want to take the take I want to take is, you know what, be an adult. If you're gonna take the shit, take it. If you're gonna take, but don't take too much where you OD. And if you do, that's on you. And I want to take that take, but that's fucked up. That's
Well,
just mean. You know
one
what
of
I'm saying?
my all-time favorite comedians.
Hold on. Let me finish. But what I'm saying is that there should be regulations on it, but there shouldn't be regulations on it. You should be adult enough, and I don't care if you're women's soccer, hockey, NHL, NBA. I don't care what it is. You have to be able to monitor yourself and know when to say when. You just do. I mean, you know that you can't kick it so late after a game. I mean, the night before a game, or you will be horrible when it's time to work. I mean, and that's for anybody. And it don't matter if you're the outfielder for the Yankees or if you work at Pizza Hut. I mean, you can't work if you tired. So I just people
these players are irrational human beings.
I think
You know,
humans
like-
are irrational,
Like look
bruh.
at
And it's
Larry
not-
Bird. Larry Bird
it's not just athletes, it's
is
humans.
known for paving his driveway by himself
You ain't lying.
in the off season,
Oh my god.
doing
Mm.
long-term
Mm.
damage to his back in the process.
Long-term damage.
You know what Larry Bird's workout routine was like in the
Man.
NBA? He'd have a beer and mow his lawn. Okay? You know what Steph Curry's
I think
NBA off-season workout routine is like?
I think
I'm going
Larry
to take
worked
10,000 shots a day. You know
Larry
what Dirk
worked out.
Nowitzki's off-season routine is like? He works out with this legendary shooting coach that he's known since he was 12 years old
We know.
every day for like 8 hours. And then we have Larry Bird drinking beer, homie.
Are you wait, hold the fuck up. Are you mean to tell me you're gonna sit here and try to just disparage Larry Joe Bird in front of me, bro?
His
Are you-
off-season
are you-
workout routine? Absolutely.
Wait,
yes.
he
That
did-
off-season
he-
workout routine is a joke, dude. He
did-
had beer.
He did more than pave his mother. That's his mother's driveway too, by the way. That he did himself.
Okay, Larry
he
Bird.
did more than that to drink beer, bruh.
Larry Bird is famously known for saying before the '87 season, "I think I'm going to give up cigarettes for this season." Yeah. That means he was smoking for the other 8 years.
So, well, you know how many fucking cigars Jordan used to smoke? It didn't slow the goat down. I mean,
But you don't inhale a cigar. Like, you don't do lung damage with a cigar. You know what I mean? Like cigarettes, dude.
some of them,
like,
some of them puffs. come back
Cigars
on
give
down.
you mouth cancer. All right, cigarettes give you lung cancer.
Same.
You know, I mean,
It's
they both
cancer.
have a chance of giving you lung cancer, but
It's cancer.
cigarettes obviously give you lung cancer.
I'm just saying, you're not gonna sit here.
Inhaling.
You can't. First off, you can't compare. You can't.
Gross.
You know what Larry did in the '80s? His off-season routine was probably better than what they did. What in the damn in the '50s? You know what I'm saying? It was 30 years apart.
You know, what
It
were they
was-
doing in the 50s? Bob
He-
Cousy was delivering like newspapers.
Boom. Right. You know what I'm saying?
There's-
Milk or some shit.
There's stories
Right.
from John Havlicek about like, didn't he quit for like a year and just like deliver
know.
beer
I don't know.
around
He-
Boston for like a year?
No, he probably had to go serve in the fucking military or some
Dude,
shit.
That was
No,
another thing. People
but
would just
Hondo,
go to
that's-
Vietnam.
John Havlicek played in the '70s, so that
Yeah,
wouldn't have been him.
but
that would
Havlicek
have
was-
been Cousy and them.
I think Havlicek literally took a year off to deliver beer around Boston, or
To,
maybe it
to
was.
stop playing for the Celtics for a year.
I think he just like took a year. One of these Celtics from the '70s took a year off.
Yeah,
and
you
was
want
like
to look
doing
up some
the
shit.
weirdest,
That's some shit you look up.
weirdest job.
That's
So
something
I'm
to look
looking this up, Omar. Tell me something.
up. Well, is all the Grey too fucking hard? Like, what was the
Oh, the great.
good God? I keep.
So
telling
while
you,
I'm looking this up,
damn.
hold on 1 second. Beep, beep. So, oh, the great. While I'm looking this up, tell me something. Who is gonna win the NBA championship next year?
Next year?
This year, or next year?
Wait,
Your choice.
Which one, man? You throwing me off the way you asked that question. So which one, homie?
So, oh, the great. While I'm looking this up, what was I gonna look up again?
You're looking up if John Havlicek
Oh,
took a
yeah,
year off
yeah,
during the
okay.
season.
I assume we're gonna be able to edit some of this out, right? Oh God, I
don't
hope
know.
so, because man, we just messed up real bad.
No, not that wasn't bad at all. He's not trying to do too much of that. I don't know. So we gotta get this motherfucker right.
So,
he ain't trying to do it,
who's gonna win the NBA
but he's
championship
gonna do
this year,
this season.
this season, sir?
I picked them earlier. I don't want to change my mind. I'm not gonna leave them now. I picked the Boston Celtics. Yeah, kiss my ass, all of y'all. Yep, I picked the Boston Celtics to win earlier this season. You see, earlier this season, it was a perfect pick, right? Yeah, you see that. But, you know, oh my goodness.
I still think they have a good chance of winning, dude.
They
You
do-
really think that team turmoil is gonna last in the playoffs?
I don't think it's
You
team
think it's gonna
turmoil.
get worse?
I don't think it's team turmoil. I think it comes from one friggin' dude. I think it comes from
Which
one friggin' dude.
Which
And we
one?
know who the hell it is. We know who the hell it is. I think the team turmoil comes from one friggin' dude. You look at how they played last season. They played like we don't have nothing to lose. All for one for all. It's us against the world. That's how they played. And did you see how far they got?
No.
Oh, are you even listening? You're not listening.
Yes.
Maybe you should put the phone down.
Last season it was what, Eastern Conference Finals?
Eastern Conference freaking
Seven,
game
game seven,
and they would have
with
won
a shot to win it against LeBron. They
don't
just
know.
didn't get the ball to Tatum enough.
I
I'm
don't
not
know-
gonna lie.
No. It wasn't about they didn't have a shot to win it at the end. Cleveland beat them because Boston forgot how to shoot. The game seemed fixed almost because you can't beat NBA players and just forget how to shoot that fucking bad. At home, I don't. It don't make no sense. But anyway, what were we talking about?
The Celtics winning the NBA championship this year.
I don't want to say it because I'm a fan too. I'm a huge fan. That's my hometown team. I love them. They're really good.
So you're saying you're a homer, and that's why you picked the Boston Celtics to win?
I am a homer, but that's not why I picked them. I picked them because I legitimately think they have a chance to win. But they only have a chance to win if their best player stops acting like LeBron and makes his team better. He just has to make them better. He's not making them better. He's coming down on them. He's coming down on them too hard, and it shows. It's too much. He comes out on them. You left LeBron because you were sick of LeBron, but now you LeBron. It don't make any sense. I don't get it.
Well, if
don't
Kyrie
get it.
Irving left LeBron to become a better leader, does he still have a lot to learn about leadership?
Who you telling?
Wow.
Who you telling?
Wow.
Who you telling? I'm just.
I cannot believe he threw some of these guys, all these young guys. Yeah, I know, I'm 3 years older than them, but man, they just, really,
Right.
really need some more experience.
Right.
Okay,
Right. I'm a whole 3 years. Maybe,
look,
might be more, maybe 4.
hey, I played 13 games at Duke before I broke my foot and sat out before being drafted #1 in the NBA draft. Okay, don't talk to me about college basketball experience. I know college basketball. Kyrie Irving
He didn't
loves
play
Duke.
13 games. He didn't play no 13 games.
Was it 10?
Less than that. Less than
I
that.
think it might have been 10.
I was shocked at how high he went in the draft because he literally played hardly no games. He was just that good. I was like, wow, this kid came out of nowhere. Like, who the hell is this dude? Man, but he's that good, I guess. And he is that good. He just needs to work on his leadership skills. So that's who I got. I got Beantown. I want to go away from him, but I can't because I love him.
I mean,
And yeah,
I want to say the Warriors because
of course, because you want to be right.
well, look at how talented they are. But look at the Rockets. I mean, seriously. 0 for 27 last year. That's just hanging over their heads. That's got to fire them up so much.
What do you mean 0 for 27? You mean where they played?
The way they shot in the fourth quarter,
yeah.
and the game was it 0 for 27 at one point? They missed 27 straight 3-pointers
Probably
in
so.
Game 7.
Probably so. That's how they shoot.
Maybe it was 25.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
Either one, you're right.
They missed 25 or 27.
Either one, nobody gives a shit.
They missed so many.
This
How do you miss that many? I've never missed that many in a row of anything.
Because Houston is coached by Mike D'Antoni, and Mike D'Antoni is not a coach about substance. All he coaches is just run, scores, run, scores. Scores. There's no substance to his game. Like, that's why his teams never win shit. They never do shit. They never even advance to a conference final. You never saw Phoenix in a conference final. You damn sure weren't going to see that Knicks team in a conference final. And you're not going to see the Houston Rockets in a conference. You maybe might. I don't think you can even go see them in a conference final this year because there's going to be a time where they nut up, especially James Harden. That's what he does. That's what he does. He never comes through. And CP3. If CP3 body don't give out on him like usual, if his body don't give out on him, Harden, he won't hit the shot that's needed because he's used to missing it. And what is it? Harden will miss those shots that he drains all regular season. He will miss them. And the thing that I don't like is some I've heard analysts say, oh, well, Harden's doing that now, but let's see him do it in the postseason because they call the postseason differently. Why in the shit do they call the postseason differently? It's the same motherfucking refs.
Harden is going to get a ton of free throws. Either way.
No, that's the thing. That's the analysis. The basketball analysis person that says it on TV, that's their point. He won't get that many free throws. The defense will be tougher because it's the playoffs and they'll call the games differently. Why do you call them differently? Like, that's the shit that's disturbing about NBA. That's the thing that's disturbing about some professional sports and how, like, in the postseason things are called differently, and sometimes it's a good thing and a bad thing. Ask the Saints.
This is why I love Mark Cuban. I'm serious. Mark Cuban buys the Dallas Mavericks early part of the decade. Everybody knows this. But he is legendary for complaining about the refs. And in 2007 was fined like $1 million by the NBA because he was complaining about the refs. And then we find out that Tim Donaghy is betting on games and the old boy's going to prison. So once we put old Tim Donaghy in prison, the ref comes up to Mark Cuban and they're like, so what kind of ideas do you have to help us out with this whole reffing thing?
Yeah.
We see that you've been videoing these refs, keeping data on refs. What are the recommendations you got? Mark Cuban says, you know what we should be doing?
Yeah.
Paying these guys like $6 million a year.
The refs?
The refs. You know why? Because if they make more money, they're less likely to have a need to gamble.
Wow, I really wish you didn't bring that up at the end. That's a really good story.
Isn't it great?
That's a good segment. I want to talk about that. we're
History of the game, man. I
yeah.
really think the NBA is reffed better now than it was 12 years ago.
I disagree.
Oh,
I
dude.
disagree.
You
No,
don't
I
remember
did.
the ticky-tack fouls refs used to do on people.
They still
They,
do
they,
them. What
but
you talking
trust me,
about?
bro.
It's worse. What you
No, it's
talking about?
not.
In
Nope.
the NBA, it's
13.
so worse. They let
There,
the college
there's
players do
plenty
more
of
than the
information
NBA
about
players get to
this.
do, Marshall.
There's plenty of information about this. What they
Marshall,
would do
use
back
the eye
then
test. You can see it with
is
your face.
they would call 2 fouls back to back on somebody to get them in foul trouble at the beginning of a game. Okay? And it was obvious what they were doing. All right?
I don't know. I disagree.
These things got blown up in court. All right? These things are like you can see it. All right? I get it. Like it feels like they're letting some people get away with murder and letting other people not get away with it, but they don't officiate the games the same way as they used to. They just don't.
Yeah, they don't. They're more. I completely and unequivocally don't agree with what the fuck you just said. They call the games tighter now. It's more. It's everything is ticky tack. If you look at the ref the wrong way, they call a foul. I saw Steph the other day. You like to keep bringing up Steph. He said something to the to the ref at the end of the game. It might have been that game where against Minnesota where KD got the foul at the end, and he said something to the ref after the game, but the ref couldn't do shit, and he looked at him like, "Mother, ooh, if I could call a foul on you right now, like it was something." But it's just no, man.
Well, to what extent does
Listen,
the
let me
ref?
finish. Let me finish. They don't let the refs do not let those grown men be men. They don't let them look at another player a certain way. They don't let them react a certain way after they get a dunk. Like they had to put there was almost they had to put a rule in place, Marshall, to stop calling fouls when cats would hang on the rim. Cats would hang on the rim for 2 reasons: either to celebrate or to not get fucked up on the way down. And
That's
these
TV stuff.
dumbass refs were calling fouls on cats hanging on the rim.
We're talking
They're
about TV stuff here.
no, I'm not
The
talking.
the way it looks.
No, what? No, fuck that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the way these, maybe so, but the way these refs will call these games, cats were hanging on the rims just so they wouldn't hurt themselves, and they're calling fouls. This is not everything changed, and you know what I'm talking about with Malice in the Palace. It changed every fucking thing. It changed everything, and it's not right because these men can't be men anymore. That's all I'm saying. It's almost time to wrap this thing up too, man. I hate to take off at the
I
end.
love the Malice in the Palace. I was watching that night when it happened.
I watched it live.
That was
I watched it live.
Did I call you and talk about that?
You might have the next day, but
Like,
it was a Friday night. Yeah,
What
no,
was? I mean,
that was amazing.
that coverage ran for an hour and a half, like it was a national emergency. Okay, like the commentators are like, you do not get the perspective watching the YouTube video about this because this is a normal NBA game, and then all of a sudden this happens, and then TNT or TBS not cutting away for a commercial.
It was on ESPN.
For like an hour.
It was on ESPN.
I'm sorry, ESPN not cutting away for a commercial for like an hour and a half.
Dude,
was unheard of in the year this took place.
Dude, Mike Breen has PTSD from that right now. The dude who called that game, anytime he sees a fight break out at the game, he gets brought back to Malice at the Palace. I hear it in his voice. Like he sounds so scary. I feel so sorry for his ass. Like, okay, big black man fighting. Like dude. But okay, it's time to wrap this thing up. Marshall,
the great. Thank you for having me on.
Man, thank you, man. You were awesome. You were really good. You were really good.
Yeah, you're gonna have me back soon, right?
Oh yeah, pretty much. You know that. You nailed it. Thank you for coming through. Shout out to Mr. Boston over here for being an excellent producer, engineer. I guess I don't know what he was. Playing Angry Bird player.
If any fans need my phone number, just slide into my DMs later and hit me up.
Well, definitely give a shout out. Put your socials out there if you want to put those out there. Put your socials out.
Oh yeah, I have a social.
Not the number, fool. Your fucking networks and shit. I mean, whatever ones you on. If you want, if you not wanted, I'll do it and close this motherfucker.
Yeah, close it down.
All right. Shout me out. Look for me on Twitter because that's the only thing I'm on. Oh, the Great, just like the name of the host of the show. OTHA Great. And that's it. Twitter. Hit me up on that. And one thing I like to say as I'm going to close out every episode of High Off the Glass, I'm going to give another reason. I'm going to give a reason for something, and my topic for what I'm giving a reason for every episode will be why St. Louis, Missouri needs a basketball team, an NBA professional team. Reason number one, because this is the first episode. Reason number one, we have a great arena for it. Savage Center used to be, now known as Scottrade. It's not Scottrade no more? When did Enterprise get it?
It's
wow.
the Kiel Center. It will always be the Kiel Center.
Wow.
Until they
It'll
tear
always
it
be
down,
Savage for me.
it'll always be Kiel.
When I moved to St. Louis in 2001, it was the Savage Center. And that's where
this is some real local
So it's
flavor
always
for our
Savage.
listeners, by the way.
Pretty much.
All of our international listeners know the ins
It's
and outs of our
Enterprise
stadium
now,
naming
huh?
systems.
It should have been Enterprise. Because Enterprise, if people don't know, is where? They're from St. Louis. They're local here too. That's where they started at. But we have a beautiful arena for it. I want to see an NBA team here. I think we can support it. We have a great fan base in the city and county. Our city is a great size, along with county. Our numbers would put us up there with major cities. But I just think it's needed. I think we can support it, and we need another team here, especially since that sorry ass football team left. We have a market for it, and we have a need for it. So.
Cardinals are going to look real good on an NBA jersey.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis basketball Cardinals?
We'd be the Budweisers for all I care. I'd still go to the game.
St. Louis Budweisers. That's shit. But, yes, we need a basketball team, and that's reason number one. Why I keep saying rule? I think I don't want to keep saying rule. But that's reason number one, because this is our first episode. We have a great stadium for it. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to listen to High Off the Glass. As for Mr. B, Mr. Big Marshall, and the great, you guys be safe, and peace out.